So good afternoon. So today we'll be looking into the last module of this course, that is on that's going to be on legal, regulatory, CSR standards and taxes. Okay, so this module is where you're going to learn about a lot of legal aspects or the regulatories which you need to take up, and what are the tax systems you're going to adopt in your startup, and what are the standards you need to establish before starting the business as well as during the business, what your startups has to do. So we are going to discuss that one by one, and at the last part we'll be also discussing about the CSR. CSR means corporate social responsibility or CSR report. Okay, so all these things has to be we'll be discussing in this class or in this module. So the success of any young entrepreneur will be the key to the India's transformation, and this is as per the Dhirubhai Ambani's vision. So the most successful entrepreneur, the most successful one successful businessman in India, right? Okay. So in this model, we will be discussing about legal, regulatory, CSR, standards, and taxes. Okay, so what are the legal requirements? The first and foremost thing what you have to do is you have to create the LLC or corporation. That means before starting the business, you are going to decide what kind of business you are going to build. Say, for example, if you are building a LLC means a limited liability company. So when you are starting a limited liability company, what are the advantages? So if you're these are all the facts. It's not about making you fear of starting a business. Okay, whenever you say business, that means the risk is involved. So in case if you're starting a startup and if it's growing up and if it's facing a bankruptcy, or if it's not performing well, if the business is not performing well, then it's better if we start a limited liability company. In limited liability companies, even if your company goes bankrupted, the people who are invested in your company cannot take money from your bank account. That means the legal policy is that the company is not the issues will be addressed only by the company, not by the individual who started the company. That means you no need to fear about your money, your own money, what is already in the bank, or your personal assets, your vehicle, your home. All these things will not be addressed. It will be safe. Only the company which you started will be responsible for the for paying the left out money, like taxes, income taxes, and all these things, right? So other monies whichever has to be paid, even to the employee salary, whatever you pay, that will be owned by that will be at the risk of the company, not at the risk of the individual. So you should understand that is called as minimum liability. The minimum liability will be taken by the business organization, the company which you take, not on the personal head. Okay, it's not on the head of the man who started the business. Okay, so next, corporation. Corporation is like is where it's a separate entity. Okay, so where it's like everyone involved in the business is going to take the responsibility, not the individual. So that means it's a collaborative thing. Everyone in the company is responsible, not the whoever is invested. Okay, they are all going to take the mutual, whether it's profit or loss, everyone is going to share among them. So that we call as corporation. We call as a C corp. Okay, so corporation, here the corporations will file the income tax, profit loss statement separately, not the individual. Okay, the corporation is a team. Normally we say corporation is governed by board of members. So this board of governing members are the decision making authority. They will be responsible for the profit and loss, and they are going to share the profit or the loss also. So that is the difference. So when you start a company, the best advice is to go with a LLC, because when you start a company, it will being a startup, it will not be being an entrepreneur, it will not be a corporation when you begin. But later stage, when you develop your business, a lot of people maybe will be investing on your business. So then it can become, then you will have a lot of board of governance depending upon the share market, share values, what you share. So then it becomes a corporation. Okay, then when it goes to public, you give shares. Then that is called, then that's why we stress to go with a minimum, that's a limited liability company when you start. The next step is to register your business name. So we have a lot of businesses which will have the same name. So then that is going to get difficult. So I could say some example, one common example in India. So wherever you go, especially in Chennai, and there's a lot of hotel Saranabhavan, then there's a new Saranabhavan, or you say there's a brand called as Puma, right? Then you will have Pume, you will have Adidas, you will have Adibos, something like that. So people are giving the same name, same brand logo, everything will be there, but they will be changing small spelling. So what happens? People knowingly or unknowingly they buy the duplicate product. Okay, same Apple phone symbol, everything will be there, but it will be made in, it will not be made by someone else in China or Korea, not by the Apple company itself. So same way, if you go to Bangalore or anywhere, nowadays you'll be able to find books, lot of books, especially books written by which the hot selling books, right? So these books will have similar content, everything will be similar, but that will not be the product of the particular publisher. Okay, say for example, if CRC Press is releasing one book, or Macmillan Publications, McGill Publications, you can mute. Sir, please mute yourself. Okay, so
మధ్యాహ్నం ఫీవర్ వస్తుంది ఏమన్నా జలుబు ఉందా దాంట్లో చిన్నది గ్రీన్ కలర్ ఉంటాయి గ్రీన్ కలర్ కాదు నీకు ఎప్పుడు క్లాసులు ఉన్నాయా ఏమన్నా ఉన్నాయా క్లాస్
okay, am I audible? Okay, so this okay, so this is what, like we have to go with the entity name. So entity means the company should have its own name, otherwise there's a chance of duplicating the things, or by duplication they can bring down the business of your company. Normally food products will have this problem, same brand logo and business name will be there, but they will be giving some adulterant products in order to say, for example, especially the foods for the children, like the like cereals, all these things are there, no? So there they make like Horlicks, Boost, something like that. Anyone can manufacture that by mixing some other thing, and they can put the sticker of the particular company, and they can release in the market. So this will lead to lot of problems. So it will always end better to have an entity name. Okay, so entity name or a trademark which will be followed by the across the nation or across the state, and you should develop something like doing businesses like that will, that these things will are having a domain name for your business. Okay, a lot of websites are there. Yes, even banking websites are duplicated nowadays. SBI online will be there. SBI online.com or .in will be in India, right? But they can duplicate, or they can mimic this, and they can make one more website. So people may invest in that, or do transactions via that banking also. So a lot of possibilities are there to hack your account. So same, that's why it's very very essential to register your business name, to create an entity name, to have a trademark, I mean the trademark symbol or the logo, to have a way of doing the business, or to have a domain name. So all these things, domain name, here I mean the website name. So all these things will ensure your business is safe and no one can copy from you. Then when you start a business, it's very very important for you. In India, it's very very essential for you to get the TIN number. TIN number here, it means tax identification number. Then some in some countries it's also known as employer identification number. That is only when you have TIN number you are allowed to do business, you are to do transactions. And to do this, you have to go to the IRS website, Indian Revenue System, Revenue Service website. There you can get this tax TIN number. TIN number. Every institute or every organization in India, even when you are running a small business, you should get this TIN number. In other countries, it's called as employer identification number, because with this number only your organization is going to get identified. Why it is essential to get the TIN number or the IEN number? It is to when you're paying your employees, you need employee identification number, TIN number. Then if you're filing taxes, if you're operating as a corporation, and if you're going to pay some tax for your excuse me, for your as pension, then you should be, excuse me. So while doing this, you should be paying your customers or paying your bills, paying your tax. So for all these things, you need your tax ID number. This varies from country to country, state to state. So when you're running a state in India, you should have a TIN number provided by the state, as well as the tax ID number for the central government and state government. They have different taxing system. Sometimes one using the same TIN number you can have. Otherwise, you should have a state. From state to state, it varies. If you're having a business in Maharashtra, then you should have a different state tax ID. When you have this ID, it will enable you to have a safe transactions, or when you pay the tax, it becomes very easy. That's why this is very much essential. Then after, the fifth step is to obtain the business permits and licenses, because if, depending upon the business or the way of the service what you offer, the licenses is going to vary. Okay, and there are certain lists provided by safe guidelines. What are the preliminary license that are necessary to run the business is listed by the state and central governments in their respective websites. In India, CA, Confederation of Indian Industries, has come out with a list of licenses which you need to take. You can go to CA website, or Ministry of Industries, or Ministry of Heavy Industries. You go to any website, there you will find all this, or even any state-owned state Ministry of Industries. You will find this list of licenses which you have to get before starting the business. Starting from the environmental, you have to get a license from the Pollution Control Board. You should get a license from the regulatory of companies, ROC. So all these people, you should get some licenses to start the business. Okay, so why you have to take this licenses? This will enable you to register as a agency, or register as an organization, register as a company with a particular state where you are located, or particular locality where you are located, and this will help the state to have a control over the industries which is being operated. If you're running a pharmaceutical company without any license, that is definitely the state government or the central government has all rights to close your business. If you're running a business, any business without license can be closed. Okay, then insurance. So if something happens, some loss is going to happen, how we are going to tackle that? Okay, if you're having a general liability insurance, that means it will cover the financial losses of if any damages occurs, any medical issues, all these things are there. Then general liability insurance will be taken. That will be for the property as well as for the employees who are working in the company. So you can take like that. The next level will be on product liability insurance. That is, if anything happens because of your product to the customer. Say for example, you are buying a cell phone and the cell phone blast, and if the company has a product liability insurance, the company will tell the customer to claim, and that claim will be settled by this product liability insurance. That is, I have insured my product, and whatever the damage that is being caused by my product will be handled by this insurance agency with which I have made a product liability insurance. Then we have commercial property insurance. So if any damages occurs to the building, to the furnitures in your company, to the machines in your company, to the computers in your company, anyone has stolen your items due to any vandalism or any theft, whatever has happened, then we are going for this commercial property insurance. Sometimes, in India, there was a policy that there's some mobile retailers, they would tell that register, take a theft warranty, theft guarantee certificate. That means that when you take that certificate by paying some 500,000 rupees extra, if your mobile is stolen by someone or if you lost your mobile, then they will replace the mobile. That is all because of this property insurance. So there are different kind of insurance. We are not going to see deep into that. As of now, you just understand for a business, you can take a general insurance. For the product, you can take some insurance, and for the commercial applications of your own organization, office or the company, you can take some kind of insurance. So that is called commercial property insurance. This commercial property insurance, say for example, often you will find in news a building is under fire, or the government the textile showroom got fire. So how will or even in Chennai 2 years back or 3 years back, there was a major accident jewelry showroom, the cloth, it has a cloth garment shop. Everything got burnt out, but at last even the gold shop was burnt, but it was safe because they kept all these things in a locker, and that was inside the locker, and nothing happened to the locker because of the fire, and even the building got collapsed after that, but nothing happened to the gold what they had inside. So that's how sometimes, but they were able to build the showroom again back in within 6 7 months. They were able to reconstruct the whole setup, and they were able to rise very good because everything happened because of the insurance what they had. Similarly, that's why insurance is very important, either it's for the individual, for the family, or for the company as a whole. Then using this tin number or the pin number, whatever you generated, you got from the by registering your company, you can now you'll be able to start a business bank account. This business bank account will be different from the individual bank account, because whenever you are going to get some loan from the bank, you are going to use this business bank account. All your transactions will be handled by this business bank account only. So it is always necessary for you to start a business bank account, and to start a business bank account, four primary documents are required. One is you should have your TIN number or the employee identification number. Then you should have your how you form the business, what is the source of your income, what will be the product you're going to sell. A small, it's like again a small business plan you have to give to the bank. Then your license, what are the license you got to start the business, because licenses are several types. So depending upon your business, what kind of license you got. So what is required and what you have got. So all these things has to be provided to the bank as a document. Then you should also tell that you should also give some documents confirming that you are the owner of the business, because for any one business you can't go and take the loan. So you should have some documents authorizing that you are the sole owner of the business. So these things are required. So again, selecting the bank is very very important. Selecting the bank is very very important, because when you select the right bank, then only you'll get the required money. If whenever you apply for some loan or some favor, some quick banking transactions, for all these things, the banking institution should be able to help you. So that's why it's very very important for you to select the right bank to open the bank account. Normally, this MSMS will be opening bank with SIDB, Small Industries and Business Incubators Bank. So all these banks, or if you are studying agricultural business, you can start banking with some NABARD banks, National Agriculture Development Banks. So all these banks will be able to give you loans. So it's always advisable to select the right bank for a right business. Then after doing all these things, still if you have any query, or if you don't want to handle a lot of pressure in handling the legal issues or the regulatory issues concerned to a business, then you should be able to hire a consultant or anyone who has a legally strong knowledge. Then you can hire them for your business, and they may help you really to run the business in a smooth full way. You can either hire a lawyer, or if you feel that you need an accountant to solve your handling the accounts, or handling the cash inflow and outflow, then you should hire the right people to with financial knowledge in your business. So it's better to have a consultant or a professional when you start the business, and as your business grows, depending upon the volume of product you sell, and the number of customers you are going to handle, number of supplies you are going to handle, you can set up your office, or you can hire a professional consultant for a business, either a lawyer or the financial accountant, depending upon your requirement. Okay, so now when it comes to licenses, I didn't touch about more points. Okay, so that's why. So licenses, getting appropriate license for the right business is very very essential. If you are having the license, it proves your genuinity, or it will prove your strong that it will help you to promote the business also. It will tell that it will make you as a reputed organization in the society. So nowadays, even for running a university like VAT, VAT has all kind of accreditation with this, NAC, NBA, or you say QS ranking. So these are some accreditation which proves again and again that VAT is number one institute in India. NIRF ranking, you take any ranking systems in India, VAT is able to keep in the top 10 positions at least, right? So compared to the other institutions also. So in India, VAT stands number one because it has it has passed a lot of accreditation examinations. It keeps doing that. So that's why VAT stands number one. Same way, if you want to stand number one in your business, you should take the proper licenses, proper accreditations, proper certifications for doing your business. Okay, so but this business is this licenses varies from business to business. So sometimes if you are running a shop, or if you want to run a small business, you're going to do some trading, then you should have a license from the license common license, from as per the Shop and Establishment Act. And if you're running a e-commerce company, you should have a VAT registration, value added tax registration. You should have a service tax registration certificate. You should have a professional tax certificate license. All these licenses you should take. If you're running a restaurant, you should take a certificate from food safety license, certificate of environmental clearance, preventive of food adulteration act, and trade health trade license, etc. And sometimes you should take certification from if you're running a hospital, you should be a registered doctor. You should get a license to practice. If you're a lawyer, you should get license to practice from the Barclay of law. So all these things are essential if you're going to do the business. So getting licenses for the person who is going to run the business, or for the company who are going to run the business, is very essential. To make it simple, if you're going to have run a cab service, you should ensure that all your drivers are having your driving license. And driving license comes in different badges, right? For a heavy transportation it is different, for light vehicles it is different, for two-wheelers it is different, so on and so forth. So selecting the right license for the right business is very important. I can't make a driver who knows to drive a car to drive a trailer or a container lorry. So the license is varying from heavy transportation to the light transportation in India. Same way, so that's why license is getting very important. You can ask a doctor who didn't have a license from the Ministry of Health, or that's a Indian Medical Association, IMA. So if the doctor is not getting certified by that particular IMA, he is not allowed to practice in India. Say for example, some students from India, they go to abroad to study MBBS, or in Philippines, in Russia, some Ecuador, some countries like that, China, like that. And when they come to India, they are not recognized as authorized doctors to practice in India. They have to write examination in India to get certified for that. So only when they pass the examination conducted by the IMEA, only then they get certified as doctors who are allowed to practice in India. This applies to anywhere you go. But that's not the case of engineering, I guess. Even for engineering, we have certifications like professional P engineering certificate or C engineering certificate has to be taken if you want to practice as an engineer in a core job in any foreign nation as a permanent employee. Otherwise, if you're going for a contract basis, you don't need to get that. If you're going to work as a permanent employee of a company, these things you have to satisfy. Okay, professional engineering certificate, or certified engineer, or professional auditor certificate. So all these things are, even if you want to practice as an auditor, you have to get that. If you're a civil engineer, if you're going to measure the land, so you should get a certificate from the government agency that you are authorized person to do that. So some examples we can keep on giving like this for necessary licenses. Then before you start the business, you should be very much aware of the taxation and accounting laws of the particular country or the region where you are going to start the business. To address this issue, Startup India program, as launched by Government of India, has given a lot of governing points to be followed. Okay, but when you are considered as a startup, okay, to be eligible for this taxation and accounting laws. So for that, the Startup India program has given a set of four things to be followed. That is, your company should not be more than 7 years old. You can't tell that it's not that you run your father's business or your grandfather's business and tell that I am a startup. No, it's not possible. Only for biotech based startups, they give 10 years as the time. Once your company is stepping into the completed 7th year and stepping into the 8th year, you can't apply for any startup loans, or you're not considered as a startup. After 7 years, you're considered as a full company. You're no more a startup. Then your company should be registered as a limited liability partnership or limited liability company, or that is LLC, or PLC, that is private limited company. So you should have registered your company in any of these three things: limited liability partnership, limited liability company, or private limited company. Then your company should not have a turnover of more than 25 crores annually. Your company should not make a profit or turnover. Sorry, not profits, the turnover. Your company should not make a turnover more than 25 crores. Okay, then you should not have a split up in the business and claim it as a startup. For example, you are running a business for more than 7 years, and suddenly what you're doing, a part of your unit, a part of your organization, you're telling that this is from today onwards, this will be a new startup. Okay, say for example, your father is running a company for more than 7 years, and suddenly after your graduation, your father is telling that okay, hereafter you are going to handle the you're based in Delhi. Okay, so imagine you are based in Delhi, and your father is telling that your parents are telling that hereafter you are going to run our business, which is in Chandigarh. That means that is not a startup. That's just an extension of your business. So don't split your business and claim it to be a startup. If anyone is finding that, they can sue you. Then, as a company, we should be aware of many laws. The most important one is to be the labor law. Labor law will help you in understanding the minimum wage payment, what is the gratuity you're going to pay, what is the provident fund you're going to pay for your employees, how many holidays you're going to give, what are the maternity benefits you're going to settle, how you're going to address sexual harassment, how you're going to pay the bonus, how you're going to handle the paternity benefits. So all these things should be clearly defined. Okay, Government of India stress more on this. Nowadays, even in institutions, education institutions, everywhere, this sexual harassment is being considered as a very, very important issue. So, yeah, labor law, inside your company, you should have a very clear labor law, and it should be very transparent to everyone. And the actions taken by the company or by the startup should be recorded, and it has to be submitted. Okay, so it's essential for any startup to file a self declaration from the 2nd year or the 3rd year onwards. Okay, and the company should have a well defined employee policy. Only when the company is having a well defined employee policy, it will have clear knowledge on talent acquisition and retaining their employees. So when an employee knows, okay, this are the rules which has to be followed inside this company, then he will follow it. If anyone deviates from that, or if anyone does anything against the law of the company, which is being adopted for the benefit of its employee, then a strong action can be taken by the HR department, human resource department of the particular company, and they can even file a case against them in the court. Okay, so when you do all these things, your company's employees moral will be good. Like everyone should come to the class at 11 o'clock. Okay, everyone will be at 11 o'clock. That is the moral what we follow, or the ethics, basic ethics we follow. So that will improve the productivity, overall productivity. Then what are the labor laws? There are 9 labor laws which is essential for a startup program. These there are many laws, but I am highlighting here only the 9 laws. The first one is Industrial Disputes Acts 1947. This is the first time after the law was proposed. And before to that, they were only unit act, because everyone were employees, no one were employer in India. Most of the people were employee, so they had a Trade Unit Act of 1926. And after that, we had only the first act to come for after the freedom was India in the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. Then we had the Building and Other Construction Workers Act in 1996, Industrial Employment Act 1946, the Interstate Immigrant Workman, that is 1979, which is still a big question. Okay, during this pandemic situation, we had this. None of the state government or the or the central government had a clear-cut idea on how many migrant workers were there from other states working in their own state. The central government didn't have the data. The state government also didn't have the data, which led to the miserable situation of this migrant workers in any state, because they found it was very painful to see them walking miles and miles a day to reach their destination. Okay, because they had no jobs, right? So that was a very very worst situation. So there should be strict interstate or intrastate migrant statistics should be there. Then the payment of gratuity after you complete your working for a company, how your gratuity is going to be paid. What is the regulation for the contract labors? Because each and every company will have different laws for the permanent labors and the contract labors. Then employees provident fund, that is PF, we call as PF, and miscellaneous provisions, like how you are going to pay your provident fund for your employees. And what is the State Insurance Act? Employee State Insurance Act is there. So like this, lot of laws are there, but at least these 9 laws you should be aware while starting a startup. Then the very most important thing is patent. Okay, getting a patent for a product. See, as part of our work also, our course, I asked you to develop your product which is useful for the society. So when you develop such product, and if your product is innovative and intellectual, that means your product is different from others, it's very very important for you to take the patent for the product. When you take the patent for the product, it has to be taken with the intellectual IPR office of any state. Okay, so every state has a IPR office, and there it's been given by the Controller of General Patents, Trademarks and Design, that is office. Controller General of Patents, Trademarks and Design. Even for your trademark, even for the design of your product, even for the process what you do for developing the product. So everything any innovative idea can be patented. Even you are writing a book, even that can be you can have a copyright for your book. Even for the presentation what I'm making now, I can get a copyright form. Even for the telecasted program, they get no copyright forms. Even for the movies, copyright issues are there. So all these issues can be handled by this Controller General of Patents, Trademarks and Design and Copyrights. Okay, so when government is doing this, the government of India has set up a thing called a Scheme for Startup Intellectual Property Protection, SIPP. This is under the Startup India program. They have proposed this scheme where the government is spending some money for the company to file the patent. So they will take all the responsibilities of protecting the innovative idea or the innovative product which can be commercialized. So all these things can be handled by the Startup Intellectual Property Protection Act of under the Startup India program of Government of India. So Government of India is going to support the people who are going to come with innovative ideas if their ideas can be commercialized. Okay, so then the next comes a very very important thing, right? It's called as effective management of contracts. Handling the contract is very very important, because whenever you have a supplier or whenever you're going to have a customer, you're going to have a contract between them. This contract will 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 help you to address the address the issues whichever is expressing because of misunderstanding. If there is any lack of communication, or if anyone is trying to cheat the other, then this Indian Contract Act 1872 comes into picture. Here it should be 1872. It's a very old act, which tells that what are like you are agreeing for some conditions, and both parties, the customer and the manufacturer, or the startup and their supplier, everyone has to undergo the Indian Contract Act 1872 to avoid any misconfusion. Like if anything is happening against this agreement, the mutual agreement, you can file a case in the court, and it can be handled by the court. Then why this is very important? Say for example, you are going to say this much is salary in your startup. You are going to say this is the salary what I'm going to provide, and this is the work or this will be your work, and for this work I'm going to pay this much. You're renting a house, you're going to pay, you're going to make a rental agreement form, that is I'm agreeing to pay this much amount of rent in within this day of the month, and I pay this much amount as advance for this month, and what are the other conditions I'm agreeing. I will be keeping the house clean, I will be painting the house. So all this kind of small agreements you're signing, right? So this signing of agreement in case of renting the property for your office, you can have all these options. Like this, the contracts are different from different for different businesses. And you should also have a non-disclosure agreement as a startup. This is very important to have this NDA. What is NDA? NDA is called as non-disclosure agreement, because you are a startup, you have an innovative idea with you, and you need fund. When you need fund, you will be taking this your business proposal or the business plan to many of the investors, angel investors, or you'll be having to the VC, venture capitalist, or you may even run to your friends, to your family, and to discuss this idea. So there's a chance of anyone copying your idea, because you are not having a money, someone, a big company is having a money, a big investor is having a money, he'll get just getting the idea from you, he can copy, he can discuss that with the other people, and he can start the business on his own, because he has the money to invest. So in that case, what happens? You are the loser. So to avoid that, before taking your idea to discussion anywhere, you should have this non-disclosure agreement signed between you and the person you are going to discuss this idea. So when you're doing this non-disclosure agreement, even after you discussing the idea with the investors, if they are starting their business, and if you have a signature signed by them, that means that he has agreed that I will just listen to your idea and I will not start a business on this. So that will prevent or safeguard your idea. Nowadays it's common in India, like I always listen to this in the news, like someone is a story will be taken by the director of the movie or the producer of the movie, they will produce the movie, and before it's being screened, the owner of the story, okay, the author of the story will claim that this is my story, they have copied and taken this story as a movie. So this is the case. So because they don't have any non-disclosure agreement, if after getting the non-disclosure agreement, if the author of the story has discussed the story with any movie director or the producer, then it becomes safe. Otherwise, it's better to take a copyright from the copyright office. So that is one advice which you should take. You should always have a NDA. Then this case, I don't want to discuss this case, but this is as an extension of this course. You can take this as an advice, and you don't need to follow this, because this is about binding up business. You have started a business, your business is going to run successfully, no doubt in that. In case if there is a failure, if the business is failing, what are the things you have to take up? There are three things by which you can get out of the company. That is called as binding up business. How we are going to close the business and you are going to exit of the business. There are three ways. One is fast track exit mode. We have the court or tribunal route and the voluntary closure. Okay, out of all these three methods, the best way is to fast track exit mode. But to have this fast track exit mode, there are two conditions you have to satisfy. First is the company should not have any assets or liability. Nothing should be owned by the company, or it should not have any liabilities. Liabilities like you should have paid everyone, like you should have settled all your accounts. Then you are able to, if you're not owning anything on your own or on the company's name, and if your company is not having any balance to be settled to anyone, then you can close the company immediately. That is the fast track exit mode. The second condition is your business should not be operating for the past 1 year. If you want to close a business in 2021, 2019 to 2020 to 21, you should not have done any business. That is, your company should be idle, no transactions, nothing, no production. So if your company is like that, then you can exit the company very easily. Also, you should ensure that your company is not having any asset or liability in its name. Then it's very easy for you to strike your name from the register of the companies. So before starting the business, you will be registering with the registrar of companies. by which I told you ROC. So this ROC, you can strike your name from the ROC's list, so that you no need to pay any tax, etc. for the next year. Next, the next way is voluntary closure. Okay, you are going to close the company on your own, but when you are doing this, you should be able to understand that your company, your shareholders of your company should be able to agree to you. So if everyone agrees to the closure of the company and everyone is happy to close the company, there is no disputes among you, then it's very easy to have the voluntary closure. Okay, then last thing. So last thing is last option is to winding up the business by approaching a tribunal court. Okay, but when you are going to have this is the long process, this is a complicated process, this is a costly process, because you have to do liquidate everything, you have to sell all your properties, then you have to approach the insolvency and bankruptcy. According to the insolvency and bankruptcy bill of 2019, the company has to sell everything in next 90 days and close the business, but this is a costly process. Okay, so that's why this way of winding the business is very, very dangerous. It's going to be time consuming. Okay, so I believe that now you understand how to what are the legal aspects, what are the regulatory and CSR standards and taxes we have to follow. In next class, we will be discussing about this corporate social responsibility (CSR) or how the CSR tax is being accounted. All these things will be discuss. We can discuss in the next class. If you have any doubt in our